Well, it's easier to be a parent this morning. It's easier to be a dad. It's easier to tell your kids character matters. It matters. Telling the truth matters. Being a good person matters. And it's easier for a whole lot of people. If you're Muslim in this country, you don't have to worry if the president doesn't want you here. If you're an immigrant, you don't have to worry if the president's going to be happier to have babies snatched away or send dreamers back for no reason. This is vindication for a lot of people who have really suffered. You know, the I can't breathe. You know, that wasn't just George Floyd. That was a lot of people that felt that they couldn't breathe. Every day you're waking up and you're getting these tweets and you just don't know. And you're going to the store and people who have been afraid to show their racism are getting nastier and nastier to you. And you're worried about your kids and you're worried about your sister. And can she just go to Walmart and get back into her car without somebody saying something to her? And you spent so much of your life energy just trying to hold it together. And this is a big deal for us just to be able to get some peace and have a chance for a reset. And the character of the country matters. And being a good man matters. You know, I just want my sons to look at this. Look at this. You know, it's easy to do it the cheap way and get away with stuff, but it comes back around. It comes back around, and it's a good day for this country.
Good morning, America. Welcome to another Say It With Your Chest podcast. If you woke up on the right side of the dirt this morning, let me get 2 chest beats and Ric Flair. Woo! The voice you heard was Von Jones after the win yesterday. Let me introduce myself. It's your boy Chest Out Rudy, a.k.a. He-Man, a.k.a. G.I. Joe, Haitian sensation. Just call me Chest Out.
It's your boy Chest Out Corey, a.k.a. Core, Commercial Core, Mr. Walking Billboard, Chest Out.
It's your boy Jay Daniels, a.k.a. Black Buddha, a.k.a. Young Hipster, a.k.a. Mr. Health, Mind, Body, Life.
Let's get right into it for another What's Happening.
What's happening?
What's happening?
That right there that we just heard was so powerful, man. That was the voice of Von Jones yesterday on CNN after it was decided that Biden is our going to be our new president.
He's our elected president right now.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like, did you guys see all the different parades and gatherings that happen all across the country?
It was massive. It was amazing.
Yeah. I got sent videos. Downtown Orlando was popping. They were marching in the streets and
It
celebrating.
was in the bigger cities like New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, all the cities that helped contribute, that made a contribution to Joe Biden's winning. They was in Pennsylvania, they was in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, all these bigger cities.
Yeah. I mean, it was a historic day. We got our first black vice president.
Mm-hmm.
Female. Yeah, so that's crazy, man. And you guys heard the speeches yesterday, right?
It was beautiful.
I didn't. I missed them.
I seen both. I mean, it was remarkable. First of all, Ms. Harris, Vice President. She approached the microphone. She came up. She represented for all the women in America. All the women. I mean, my daughter, bro, we sat down as a family, and we sat down, and I'm like, baby, she looks like you. I'm like, you can do anything that you want to do now.
Yeah.
This is inspirational.
It's as historic as when Obama won the presidency, especially for women. So I'm so happy about that, man.
And then she was able to introduce Mr. Elected President Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And he ran out on the stage. He ran out on the stage.
He ran out there for real?
Ran out. This man is 77 years old, about to be 78,
That's crazy.
And ran on stage.
Crazy.
But he looked amazing.
Yo, so you know what was funny though? Like, I Like when I'm watching the news, I like to flip channels.
Oh,
like I'll go from
Me too.
I'll go from ABC, CNN, and I'll even watch Fox too, just to see the spins that people are putting on things. And obviously,
narratives.
you know that CNN is predominantly Democratic.
Yes.
Yeah. Fox is definitely Republican, and then and you have the other stations. ABC is more neutral. NBC kind of leans a little bit more towards the Democratic side. But it's so funny. Like I was watching. I was watching the parades and everything yesterday. All the news stations were happy, and they're like, oh, everybody's like celebrating. You got people parading, and it's a joyous occasion. And I flip it to
Fox.
I flip it to Fox, and Fox was like, they had a reporter right there in the middle of a crowd, and he's like, oh man, they're not wearing their masks.
Oh,
they're not practicing social distance. And you can smell the marijuana in the air. I'm like, what?
Coming from a whole different angle with
Don't worry.
it. That's funny.
Be happy.
It's
Don't
crazy.
worry,
It's crazy,
be
man.
happy.
But again, man, like a lot of people are wondering, okay, so why is it taking so long? Obviously, this is a different type of election than we had in the past because you have all these mail-in ballots.
Yeah.
But
Well, first of all, I want to say I watch those different stations because I want to get a laugh, bro.
yeah,
I watch them just to get a laugh.
yeah.
I go between CNN and Fox just to get a laugh.
Hey, but technically, it's not over, right?
No. Because right now, what Donald Trump, the president Donald Trump, is doing right now, he's actually going to the Supreme Court on 4 different recounts. In Pennsylvania, matter of fact, Trump is going to the Supreme Court because he wants 4 different states to do recounts. We talk about Pennsylvania, we talking about Michigan, Georgia, and Nevada.
And Arizona's in it too, right?
I think Arizona's part of it too as well.
Now, keep in mind though, because of all these mail-in ballots, they're still counting in some of these states. But the reason why they can say or announce that Biden is the winner is because they know exactly how many more ballots are still remaining to count, and the likelihood of Trump taking over or leading is very. It's not going to happen.
Well, Biden already hit 270 electoral votes, right?
Yeah. So based on that, and
now
he can go even higher.
Wouldn't it be something if you said Trump is one asking for a recount, they do a recount and things.
He's already submitted.
Things
already
swinging the other way.
But the thing is, you have to have like a legitimate reason why you're doing the recount, and it's been thrown out in several other courts before.
Yeah.
And then I've heard from the judge in Nevada and I think Arizona, and he's like, if they don't provide actual proof, they're gonna throw them out again. So it's just he obviously wants to remain as the president, and he's gonna do everything that he can to try to remain. It's gonna be hard. Like,
hey, the internet has been going crazy with memes.
The memes.
oh my god! Yeah. Yo, did you see the one where he was like
he was on a bouncy ball?
Oh yeah, that was.
Oh, I haven't seen that one, bro.
In the Avengers, did you see that one?
I saw that one.
Oh,
I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen that one.
I was gonna send it to you. I think I did.
You probably did.
It's crazy.
I seen the one they took a clip from Beverly Hills Cop when they threw him out the window.
One of my favorite movies.
Oh god, like the internet is going crazy right now.
Banana in a tailpipe.
Wow.
But the crazy thing about it, and no disrespect towards Trump, because I have no malice feelings towards Trump. Nothing malicious whatsoever. He's our president. I got to respect that, right?
Yeah.
But I think he's a little butthurt because Biden was able to turn a couple states from Republican to Democrat, and that's how he was able to win. Yeah. Because Biden, up to 80%, he was down in the electoral votes. Mm-hmm. So you talk about in Michigan, Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Biden was able to flip those states.
I think it was. Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was saying, and the reason for that. Okay, so the reason for that is because of all the mail-in ballots. Because what was the main thing that Trump was trying to do with the post office? He didn't want the mail-in ballots from the very beginning,
he wanted
right?
them to stop.
He didn't even want them to do that. Like even before the election, he didn't want the mail-in ballots. So when everybody decided to start voting, a lot of the Democrats did mail-in ballots. So when we saw all the electoral votes and votes coming in, those were the day of voting. So that's why Trump was way ahead. But as those ballots started rolling in and rolling
Mostly
in,
Democrats.
then it started to flip, and they were mostly Democrat. So that's the reason. And he did not want that.
So what does that prove overall, though? To me, this proves that I think that America does not want. We want to be united. Mm-hmm. And not divided. I like you said, Corey. You know, he was the president. We got to respect that. But during his presidency, man, it was a lot of division going on.
Too much separation.
A lot.
And we supposed to have unity, right?
Exactly.
And let's say this. I heard this before. It's not about the red states. It's not about the blue states. It's about United States.
Exactly.
And we got to be together. We have to fight together.
Exactly.
And you need a president that sees that. And and Donald Trump, unfortunately, he didn't see that. And he was willing to let the country fall apart just to remain the president.
So right now, I think it's just time for a reset.
That's all it is.
It's time for it's time for a new outset. It's time for a new outset right now in our country.
And hopefully this reset, doesn't further divide us, but brings us back together, because like we said, man, it's been too much division. Just like the Bloods and Crips out here.
They're united now. I mean, not as one, but I think right now, even with the Bloods and Crips, and Snoop is speaking on that right now.
Really?
With everything going on, I mean, they're not as one, but at the same time, they understand each other now. There's not a lot of killings anymore.
Got you. That's good. Real good.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
And we can go on and on about this, and we'll talk about it again as it approaches, because there's going to be a lot of things that's going on, stuff going on in the courts and everything like that. But it's great. It's a great time for America right now. People are happy. I haven't seen people this happy since Obama got elected. So I'm happy for it.
I want to thank God for all the swing states. I got my black card. I'm ready to buy everybody drinks. Listen, I just appreciate Pennsylvania, Arizona, Michigan, all the states that came out and really represented.
Hey, if you listen, and hold him to that.
Yes.
Right? Get your drink.
I got my card.
All right. That was what's happening. Now, with everything that's been going on, and I know everybody's been thinking about this too, but even before the election, people were like, "Oh man, we need to have guns. We need to protect ourselves."
Loading up.
Yeah, people buying guns at a record pace right now, just because they didn't know how this situation was going to end up. So what's your take on gun control and having guns in the home and things like that?
Well, when your president says stand down and stand back, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, that was something. But to counter what you were just saying, though, right? What would you say to those people who were like, "Hey, the Proud Boys have never hurt anybody. They're not, racist. They're not trying to harm black people. They haven't harmed black people. Name the statistics of when they've done this, that, and the third." What would you say to that?
Well, it's not just Proud Boys. I think when he said stand down and stand back, I think he gave a lot of people entitlement to certain situations, right?
Exactly.
So I think with that being said, I think when a president does not denounce a certain organization or an organization like the Proud Boys or white supremacy, I think they feel like he's with us and not against us.
Exactly. Because he hasn't made that clear definition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think it's more so the intimidation factor, really, with the Proud Boys, or if you're in the Ku Klux Klan or whatever, it's intimidation factor that's going to prevent people from going to the polls.
Yeah.
But as we can see, it didn't work, because people still went to the polls. People still mailed in their ballots. So,
well, I'll say this here. If you are out here and if you have all this time and energy on your hand to dock somebody on social media, you need to check your priorities. If you got all that time, energy, and money to buy big tires, big trucks, and big flags to put on the back of your truck to intimidate people, I think you need to check your priorities. And I think you got too much damn time on your hand.
Yeah, I mean, well, They can do what they want, you know.
I don't have an issue with it, but when you chasing down buses,
yeah, see, that's where it's going too far for me.
Pulling in parking lots, surrounding people, blocking people in. That's exactly when I have an issue.
You can. The way I look at it is, you can do what you want. You can even feel how you want. But when you start to interfere with other people because they have a different view, or they, keep it simple, because they have a different skin tone than you, right? That's where you've gone too far for me. And like you said before, I think the Trump not denouncing
exactly
it, right, gave them this entitlement to feel like, oh, well, we can go out and threaten and kind of do what we want and show how we truly feel about those around us that have different viewpoints or are different people, and nothing's going to happen. There's no consequences to it.
But let's say this too. I don't think, and I'm not saying Trump is racist, right? We're not saying that. But with that being said, I just think when you don't denounce a party, you have different motives. And I think his motives are, these are a large group that's going to vote for me one day.
Yeah.
So I can't denounce him.
Yeah. He needed that.
I need, every vote counts for him.
Yeah. And the problem with that is, and it's not just the Proud Boys. It's everybody that you've probably come across, or people that you come across.
It could have been your neighbor.
Exactly. So it gives all these people a sense of entitlement that the president is on our side and we can do whatever we want to do. Yeah. And we can't have that. That creates division. That creates a lot of turmoil all over the United States. So I'm glad that his reign is finally coming to an end.
I think we getting off the topic though a little bit. We were talking about guns and gun control, right? Yes. And we have a Democratic president now, right? Mm-hmm. And he's mentioned a lot of times of, adding in stricter gun control laws and everything like that. I have a different take on this. Like, I personally don't agree with adding more gun control laws. I don't think that that's going to benefit us in any type of way. Mm-hmm. Reason for that is because from the research I've done and just looking at it from a practical standpoint, guns aren't the issue, right?
It's the people.
Well, check this out. Okay, so firearms were the 12th leading cause of deaths for all deaths between 1999 and 2013 here in the United States. All right, we rank 28th in international homicide rates with 2.97 gun murders per 100,000 people. All right, 60% of all the gun deaths here in the United States were suicides. Okay, so with that being said, 60%. Let's take 100,000. Right? Mm-hmm. That's 60,000 deaths were from suicide. That leaves another 40,000 might have been murder, different reasons for it, right? But that's a big chunk, man, right? That's over half, right? Why are there so many people that don't want to be here? I think it's more of a mental health issue than it is a gun issue.
See, now, I understand that 60% is what you said, suicide. Right, 60% of deaths in the U.S. is suicide. But what about the other 40%? The other 40%, I think those are things that could have been prevented had you had stricter gun restraint or stricter gun laws.
I hear what you're saying.
I definitely agree with that, because the only thing you have to do right now is to go into a gun shop. Regis, you're going to shoot straight and show your ID. And you can pay for any gun that you want and get it back in 3 days. They do a 3-day background check.
But see, what's even worse now, how many of you guys have gone to like a gun show or something like that?
I have.
See, a gun show, you don't even wait the 3 days. You can buy a gun right then and there. And I've been to several gun shows, and
that's crazy.
The identification, like them checking your IDs and things like that. Sometimes they don't even do that.
So there's no background check.
No.
So they're not
very little. I would say either very little or very, or sometimes not at all.
It's a quicker process.
Much quicker process.
So I feel you what you're saying about the rest of the 40%, right? And those are things, honestly, if we're being real, if it's not guns, it's gonna be something else, right? They took away guns in I can't remember, somewhere in Europe, one of the countries over in Europe. Mm-hmm. and they still exceeded America in murders and homicides, but they were using knives. You get what I'm saying? So the way I look at it, right, stricter gun control laws isn't going to prevent a criminal from getting a gun. If my intent is to go out and do harm to people, I'm going to find a way to do that, right? Whether it be with the gun or whatever, right? And so that's why I think focusing on gun control laws is a waste of time when the bigger issue seems to be like the mental health aspect behind it. All of the mass shootings that we've had, right? For the most part, you can, in about 98% of them, they all have one thing in common. What that one thing is those people were on some form of a psychiatric drug. Okay. Right? They had to take medication for whatever reason. Okay. I think we have a bigger mental health issue in the U.S. that we don't really want to address because Big Pharma is Big Pharma, and Big Pharma makes a lot of money from medications. I mean, you go to the doctor right now, you say, the back of my calf hurts. He already, pulling out some pills to get. Exactly.
But the gun lobby is, I think that's just as big as Big Pharma as well. Those are two major lobbyists.
Yeah, we'll dig this. How many NRA members have you seen commit mass murder? Not a single one. Not a single one.
Okay, I agree, but I'm just saying that guns sometimes get into the wrong hands, and bad things can happen.
Do you remember
me?
Remember the movie War Dogs?
Yeah.
No.
Great movie.
Great movie. You have to watch that movie, bro.
Based on a true story.
Tell me about it. What is it?
You have to. I don't want to mess the story up, but it was two guys that was from America that was going to Saudi Arabia or something like that.
So I thought it was a Russian country.
Yeah, Russian country, but it was buying knocked off guns and ammunition.
Yep.
And bringing it back to the States and selling it and making millions.
This was during the war.
This is during the war.
Early 2000s.
Yes.
When we were in war in Iraq.
Yeah, in Iraq.
Yeah.
So was it the Desert Storm or something like that?
I can't remember 100%.
But anyways, with that being said, they wind up getting arrested and doing a couple years in prison for that.
But regardless,
but it's a big business, though.
It is a big business, right? It is. I not discount that at all. But for the people who own guns, like I own a gun, you own guns, right?
Guns,
plural. And you have no bad intent with you owning your gun, right? You never want to use it.
It's for safety purposes.
It's for defending yourself, right? Because you, as a human being, you have that right to defend yourself.
I don't want to use my gun if I don't have to use my gun.
Exactly. And so the thing is, why are you harming the people who are responsibly? Like the word I'm looking for is responsible.
Okay.
Why are you putting stricter laws on the people who are responsible gun owners because of people the bad apples? They're going to be bad apples regardless.
Now, just keep in mind, I'm not sure if you know exactly what I'm referring to. Like stricter gun laws, as far as, do you think like 1-3 days is good enough? Why not a week? Why not just give them a little time, be able to background check and make sure everything is okay, and then sell it to them. I don't have any issues with people owning guns or anything like that, but we do need to make it a little bit stricter for like an 18 or 21-year-old to just go out and get a gun.
Well, that's why we should be doing FCIC, which is a Florida Crime Information Center, which is a background check in Florida. We should be doing NCIC, which is a National Crime Information Center, which is a nationwide check. Because if you think about it, Rudy and Jordan, if I have a warrant in a different state, and it might be for aggravated battery, domestic violence, but you can't have a gun, or it may be for something dealing with a gun.
Yeah.
And a 3-day check is not enough time to make sure that person do not deserve a gun.
Yeah, but see, okay, I'm with you guys on the background check. I don't care how long it takes.
You have to do a real background. And I'm thinking it takes about 10 to 21 days to do a great thorough background check.
But dig this. If I plan on committing a crime, do you think I'm going to go somewhere where they're going to do a background check on me in the first place? Like, I'm going to find a way to get a gun and without having to, if anybody check anything. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this now. Can a background check see if you have been suicidal in the past?
Nope.
Can a background check? I'm just saying, like,
but a big rat can.
If we have that,
yeah.
And I understand what you're gonna say. You're gonna say, well, maybe regardless, they can probably kill themselves with something else.
No, what I was going to say actually is, and see if we can check into your mental health with the background check. I'm all for that. So I still think the bigger issue is mental health in America, at least, and that it's not people getting guns to commit crimes, because people who get guns to commit crimes, they're not getting it. They're not going to shoot straight and just buying a gun and getting a background check. They find it off the black market. You know what I'm saying?
Look at the mom that shot her son at Shoot Straight. Do you remember that situation?
No, what happened with that?
Her and her son was at Shoot Straight. The son was actually shooting. The mom walked. This was like in Seminole County, I think.
Wow.
The mom walked up behind her son on his birthday and shot him in the back of the head.
That's crazy.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah. Look it up.
Crazy.
So let me ask you this: do you think that someone should actually have training before they actually get a gun? Like know exactly how to use the gun, know how to take it apart, put it back together.
Yes,
absolutely.
See, and that's why people don't understand. Anybody can have a gun, but do you know how to control a gun? Do you know how to take a gun apart? Do you know how to clean a gun? Because a gun can malfunction. And that's why a lot of people will go out here and shoot a gun and say, well, it just wasn't my time to die, and the gun just click, click, click. No, your gun probably dirty.
Well, here's the thing, too.
You didn't clean it.
Here's the thing, too, with okay, so ignorance breeds fear, right? So if you understand the tool and what it is, I know for me, myself, once I learned about guns and how to shoot and how to take my gun apart and how to clean all these different, it sounds weird, but I gained a different appreciation for not only life, but also, okay, I have this power right now, right? This is a powerful tool that's in my hands. I need to make sure I'm careful with this and that I operate safely with this at all times, right? How I store it in my home, everything, right? Now, inherently, the average person, we're not bad people. So the average person is going to have that same mindset. You're going to gain an appreciation for, okay, this is what this is. This is what I use it for. Mm-hmm. I never want to use it. I never want to have to, you know what I mean? So,
well, let me say this. When I was 17 years old, I had an incident, right? I had a small dispensary. And I had a situation I had to go meet. So I had to go meet some obligations, right? So I got in my car, I got a phone call. So I had to go up to, it was in Deltona. I had to go up to Elkham and Providence to meet somebody up there, right?
Del Rico.
Yes, sir. So I get up there and I got this brand new probe. It's a probe. And I'm sitting back. I got my music blaring loud. I had the 412 woofers in the back. I got the Fonz gate. I got everything, right? The plexiglass. Just a beautiful car. Sounds was impeccable. And these guys came up on a big truck, right? Big tires. And when they pulled up, like, turn that music down. Turn that music down. Now, when I leave the house, I had a big brother, right? And me and my big brother was in business together. We both owned this dispensary. And he would go out and buy guns for us. My brother was in his 20s. I'm 16, 17 years old. And what I did, I usually check before I leave the house to make sure I have my gun with me when I go do these mishaps. So when I went up there and I got there, when the guy yelled out, turn the music down, I played it off, didn't say anything. And he walked up to my car and said, turn that music down. Ian called me the N-word.
Okay.
So I reached up under my seat to see if I had my gun. And this is why we need gun control. This is because you got hotheads like me in my younger days.
Got you.
So when I reached up under my seat to reach for my 380, nickel-plated 380, 5-shot, when I came, I'm like, oh my God, I can't find my gun. So I'm like, I got to fight this guy now. So I get outside, I start fighting this guy. I whooped him, and his brother jumped in. Dude by the name of Ivan Bird. I remember it like yesterday. Ivan Bird pulled up, and Ivan Bird said, I got you. So Ivan Bird jumped in. He's fighting one guy. I'm fighting one guy. With everything being said, this is the reason why we need gun control. Because you got hotheads like me, young teenage guys, that we feel like we young bulls and we could do anything and we insurmountable. So when I got to the house, my dad said, and I told my dad of the incident, my dad said, I took that gun. I knew you had that gun in the seat. I know you a hothead. And the sad thing about that, I was using that gun with the wrong intentions.
Okay.
That's why with these young kids, we need some gun control. With these hotheads, we need some gun controls.
I think it's not just the gun control, maybe gun education, just teaching them about the guns and what to do, what not to do. I think like you kind of touch on it as well. Like
that's too easy though.
The more you're comfortable and you know about the gun, the safer you feel with the gun. Because a lot of times I think when we have guns, and I think the reason that some people do not have guns in their home is because they're not comfortable with having the gun.
Absolutely.
In their home.
I just had this conversation with my homeboy the other day.
I think with me, I don't have a gun in my house. I'm thinking of possibly getting I'm thinking of possibly getting a gun as well. But I think the reason that I haven't had a gun is because I didn't know much about the gun. So I need to have that education to be able to know the ins and outs about the gun, know how to use it. Exactly. So the more comfortable I am with it, it's not going to be this thing that's right there that can kill me or kill people. It's it's just a tool.
Dig this, right? So, and I thought it was in my notes, but apparently it's not. But statistically, criminals are less likely to commit a crime where they know the other person has a gun, right? So if they know, oh, he's got a gun in there, I'm not gonna go rob that house, right? Because it's crimes of opportunity, right? If I have something over you, right? Okay, so there's no gun in that house, there's no threat to me, but I have the threat, right? So that I can do more harm to them than they can do to me if I go in there and rob this house. But I know if I go to that house, right, or go up to that person's car, I know they might potentially have exactly what I got.
We could agree to disagree. For one, how do we know that person don't have a gun?
Well, this is true,
and unless you really watching that person nowadays, that even with road rage, nowadays you don't know who you can walk upon. Like back in the days, you can have a fair fight, you can have a debate with a person, you can sit here and break into a person's house and don't think they have a gun. But nowadays, everybody has a gun. Every corner, every block, every person, young person has a gun now.
So, okay, right? So with that being said, you would think, right, adding stricter, like there would be more murders and all that stuff, right? If that's the case, if everybody has a gun.
Chicago.
But,
prime example.
Well, hold on now. That's
New Orleans.
You got to think
the murder capital.
What's going on in Chicago, though, man? It's
a war zone.
It's a war zone, but why is it a war zone? Right?
Because you have young adults out here that's fighting something that they have no idea what they are fighting for, and they're being protected. It's territorial.
Yes, but why did it get that way? Right, low income, impoverished areas, right? If you bring well, look, man. There's plenty of let's go to Prince George's County, right, or Buckhead in Atlanta, right?
I've been there.
It's black. It's a predominantly black area, right? But people got money and they have opportunities, right?
Mm-hmm. But to Bankhead. Go right down the street to Bankhead.
Go to Bankhead. But why?
Because
those people don't have anything else to do. They don't have nothing. They don't have jobs. They don't have. Bring the opportunities there, then those things will go away. But that's on us to fix, right? So we can't even count on Biden to fix that. Like we shouldn't look at that. We should look at ourselves to fix these areas, bring jobs, and instead of it being low income areas, why is it? And this is my gripe with us. Sometimes it's like, why is it that the hood or predominantly black areas are low income? Right? How do we fix that so that we have less knuckleheads running around, but we have more entrepreneurs running around, right?
We need more investments in our own
community.
Exactly.
Big
so
facts.
we gotta be able to bring businesses back to our own communities, and that way we'll have more job opportunities for people, and they won't be sitting around in the corner trying to make the easy money.
The easy money.
And so now you have territories. You got to protect that territory. And how are you going to protect that territory? You got to protect it with weapons. So all that makes a big difference. So we need to be able to bring money into our communities. And we need to invest invest in black banks, black owned businesses, and we'll see a big change in those type of gun violences.
Yep.
Well, your boy just bought into a bank. Him and the organization,
Killer Mike?
Killer Mike.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he
Killer Mike.
did.
And look what LeBron James is doing in Ohio.
I mean,
We need more of that.
it's great. It's great.
The school?
The school,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. I know
It's great, but we just need more of that.
of it.
We have some influential people in the hip hop community and in sports and all over, but we need them to actually step up and try to do some big things as well. Like it can't just be LeBron. It can't just be Killer Mike. We need more.
Listen, and that's why, and I agree with you 100%. And it shouldn't just be celebrities, athletes, and stuff like that. We need people from the community, pillars of the community.
Yes,
they come back to give back to these people. And I do like what you said. We need some type of schooling instead of me being 17, 18 years old. Instead of me just sitting here saying I'm gonna help shoot somebody or point shoot at somebody, I need to know how to break down a gun. I need to know how to use a gun. I need to know how to load a magazine up, to chamber a gun, to know how to look at a target and shoot at a target.
Yeah.
I need to know everything about a gun. And I'm like you, Rudy, know what I'm saying? It shouldn't just be a thing. Because when you know about something, you're more comfortable being around that.
Way more comfortable.
You're a lot more comfortable.
So going back to like LeBron James and Killer Mike, and I think one of y'all just said it can't just be them, right?
Yes,
Investing back in our community. Like, think about this for a second. So it shouldn't just be people like Killer Mike, right, who's a rapper, or LeBron James, who's an athlete, right, reinvesting in our communities. And I'm not saying that is the case, right? I just want more young black men to be shown that they can be something other than a rapper, an athlete, right? Think about this for a second, right? We were talking about gun education, okay? If you turn 18 or, you get to a certain age, you go to a gun education class, right? You learn how to teach people, teach yourself, for one, how to use and whatever. But then that kid, 3 years later, teaching the class. Now you got a skill on your hands.
Instructor.
An instructor on guns. But not only that, you've gained that appreciation for this tool that you're using, right? But you also know how to defend yourself, right? And that's you have that right as a citizen of America to be able to defend yourself however you can, okay? But now you got a job. You have some form of making money that doesn't involve, doing the wrong thing. Let's just put it like that.
Facts.
Right? But just something as simple as that. You get what I mean? Just little education can go a long way in different ways.
No, but I do agree. Like we need to find a way to harness it and actually bring more money into our communities, and that is a way of bringing money into our communities.
Instead of villainizing it.
Exactly. And we can't just villainize it. And I'm giving the 2 points. Like I do agree that we do need to have a little bit stricter gun control laws, but I agree with you with 60%. Like a lot of the people that are killing themselves do have mental issues. So we need to get at the root of the issue and find out why they're doing that and try to get them some proper medication or help or mental health to kind of help with that situation.
And that's why we shouldn't just check the history of their criminal background. We should check the mental side of it, like the Baker Acts. Have they ever been Baker Act before?
Yeah. I wonder how much of that would violate.
I
wonder how much of that would violate HIPAA. Like, we got to figure out if that is the case, that it violates HIPAA laws. Like, we got to figure out how we can switch that up. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think that. I think HIPAA is known by the person what they have going on with like an illness. If they HIV positive or something like that, or if they have some type of STD, or
it's actually
medications and stuff like that, right?
It's actually all medical.
Yeah, all medical.
Yeah,
all medical.
HIPAA will. But I think if it's directly related to like gun control and background
they
check,
should be able to open that door
then
up.
that should probably be an exception.
Because HIPAA is just me and you discussing about somebody else's medical history, right?
It's basically unless you're the medical doctor that's treating the patient, or you're the nurse or whomever is treating that person, then you're fine to know that information directly related to that person. But if if you had nothing to do with it, then you should not be
You
able to
shouldn't know
have
it.
that.
You shouldn't have access to
But
it.
Yeah.
dealing with guns, that should supersede that situation.
And
I
that's-
should be
that's-
able
But
to
yeah,
find out
so
about a person,
dealing with
medical
guns
background.
now,
mental health.
yeah.
We
So
talking about mental health.
But
yes.
that's what we're saying
Exactly.
should be the change, or is an option for the change in how we're doing background checks, right?
That
The
would be-
background check
that
should
would be
include
very, very
a
good.
mental health check as well.
Yes.
I agree.
So what do y'all think about why should you have a gun?
I say, man, just for defense, for being able to defend yourself, but also to go hunting. Hunting is a skill. It's actually a good thing.
So living off the land.
All
basically.
the vegans gonna hate me on this one, but it's actually a good thing. I mean, it's the purest form of protein that you can get. It's a skill that you can learn how to go and take care of yourself, right? And your family. Okay, well, we're gonna go hunting.
Man,
for
if
a year.
Armageddon happens and we're zombies are attacking, we need to be able to protect ourselves.
They can't dislike you because it's seasonal, but it's legal. It's legit.
Yeah, I mean,
It's legit.
man's been doing it since the beginning of time.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, I've always had an issue with that, like people killing animals
I
for
don't
sport.
believe in it. I wouldn't do it.
I've always had an issue with it, but I mean, that's it's the law, and they're
It's-
able to do it. And I think if they're doing it and they're doing it to survive or to eat or whatever to
yes.
feed their family, okay. But
If it's just for game?
just for game or sport, I have an issue with that because I care about all living creatures.
Well,
and
absolutely,
animals.
But
absolutely.
let's say this: each is own. You
Yeah,
do
I mean-
whatever you
Well, there's
want.
a-
We're
there's a
not
balance
denouncing
to it.
We're not denouncing it.
Yeah.
I'm not downplaying.
Yeah.
But I don't do it for game or sport. Now,
Yeah.
if I had to survive off the land, off my own harvest, and I had to go out here and hunt for to feed my family, I would
Yeah.
do it all day long.
I personally have not hunted, right?
Yeah.
And I've kind of looked into this. I listened to Ted Nugent a little bit.
Not against it. I'm not against it.
Because I didn't know about it, right? But he explains that there's a balance. There's keeping a balance of what is it, the food chain and everything like that. For example, in Texas right now, right, they're overrun with
The open
wild
carry.
boar,
Oh, okay.
right? And so the wild boar, they're going and they're actually destroying farms. They're destroying.
Really?
Yes, it's getting really bad. So it's open season on wild boar right now because their population of them has grown too much.
Wow.
And so, so you need that balance. And like hunters, remember I was talking about gaining appreciation, right? So hunters, they have an appreciation for these things. They, like you're going to be shown the bad apples, right? I'm not saying all of them are great, but they're, for the most part, they understand like, okay, like this is keeping it a balance. We get what we need, we use what we need, and then we're done with it. You know what I'm saying? I agree. I don't think that it's cool to go out and just kill for sport and that's it, right? Most of them have a purpose behind what they're doing, and it keeps a balance within our, I don't know what the word is, but environment or food chain, whatever.
You see it all the time, like when a particular animal is growing its area, they start destroying the ecosystem in that area. So you kind of have to keep it a balance, just like the snakes in the Everglades. People just throwing their snakes or their pythons in the Everglades. They're overrunning the Everglades right now too. So
I don't have a
there's-
problem with
there-
that.
but they're destroying the ecosystem. They're even killing fish or birds, and some of them get so big that they're even killing
talking about
alligators.
snakes?
Yeah,
We
the
talking about
pythons.
pythons. Okay.
Yeah. But
I hate
as
snakes.
far as the gun control or having a gun, I do think it's a good idea to have a gun to be able to protect yourself.
That's why you need
now,
one.
you
That's why-
actually have a good story too about where it played a big role in a situation with
Yes.
you and your wife too.
It was a scary situation.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
almost on some lethal weapon type situation.
This is crazy.
This is back in 2006, 2007. My wife was at the grocery store, and I always tell my wife, like, I think you should be in by a certain time. And it's not the caveman mentality. It's me just telling you it's safety first, right? So she went to Albertsons. She went grocery shopping about 8 o'clock at night. We stayed 5 minutes from Albertsons. And I get a phone call. I'm in my boxers. I'm sitting inside the house. I'm watching television. And she said, this dude just walked up to me and told me to pet his dog. I say, pet his dog? She said, he told me to pet his dog. She said, Corey, the dog is big. I'm like, why would he just ask you that? I said, did you say something nice to the dog or something? You know how some people walk by a dog and say, oh, beautiful
nice dog.
nice dog. She said, no, I just walked right past him. And she said the dude just was like very aggressive about petting the dog. So my wife was like, no, I don't want to pet your dog. So my wife had a buggy full of groceries, right? To the top. I say, leave. So she left the grocery cart right there where the guy was. She ran outside, got in her car. She sped off, coming down Lake Emma. We stayed at Regency Park of Lake Mary. And she turns in. I'm running outside. She said, Corey, he's following me. He's following me. I run outside like Mel Gibson. I'm in my underwear.
He thought he looked like Mel Gibson.
Listen, I'm in my underwear. I got my 9 in my hand. And my wife almost tears the gate down because we stayed in a condo. So when she comes in, he turns right behind her. I point the gun at the car. So I'm looking at this guy. Tinted windows. It's like a bad movie. Tinted windows. I'm pointing the gun. He turns, spins. Yeah, like my sound effects. And he shoots off.
It's like a rape mobile or mobile or.
I just want to know where the dog was.
Child abductor.
Bro, the dog, listen, it had to be like 2.2 seconds. He had to open the door, throw the dog in. The dog probably already know what to do. Jumped inside the car. And when they came down there, when I ran down the stairs, I got my slides on, my boxers, and I looked at this man. I'm like, dude, I will shoot you. Listen, I'm not ready to kill nobody. Listen,
it does take restraint too.
It does. It does. Because I could have just shot the car up.
You could have, yeah. And I think you'd have legal right to do that.
Exactly.
That's insane.
The difference was if I had if I was in a residential area, if I was like in a home and he'd have put it in my yard, I would have shot. But since we had other pedestrians, we had other people, so it's safety first.
Exactly. So you have to think all that.
So that's why I think I think everyone needs a gun for safety purposes.
Yeah,
and you know what we do. And ever since that incident, I went and bought my mother-in-law. I gave my dad my 380, nickel-plated 380. I gave it to my dad. Bought my mother-in-law. I bought my sister-in-law. I bought my wife. Guns for everybody. And you know what my mother-in-law went and did without me even telling her to do so.
Train herself.
She's trained herself, but she wouldn't have got her license because she owns a daycare. And she walks out of daycare at 6, 7 o'clock at night. So what she does, I'm like, Mom, you need to have this gun on you. And she's like, son, I appreciate it so much. So she keeps the gun in her purse because we don't have a open law carry state like Texas, but she's able to carry. Yeah,
it's
concealed.
Concealed weapons permit.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that especially women, like in today's age, they should understand how to use one and how to defend themselves in situations like that because. You know, just of things like that's crazy, man. You know, just being in Publix and somebody feeling like Albertsons, my bad. You know, feeling like they can try to, I don't know what his intent was, but you can tell it was harmful.
Yes. No, his intent was to do something that was devastating. I mean, and my wife, think about if she was home by, and this is why I tell people when people come into my house, and they knock on the door. If I'm home, for one, if I'm not home, don't answer the door. 2, because people will plot on you. 3, if I'm home, I'm answering the door. How can I help you? Because people will watch you for days in and days out, and they will break it. And people don't care if you home or not nowadays. No. They will break in your home.
This is a debate that's gonna go on forever. You're gonna have people on both sides that's gonna be like, stricter gun control laws. You're gonna have people that wants it to be relaxed, and both can have their points. Yeah,
opinions,
so they're both gonna have their opinions, but this can go on and on and on and on and on. But so Corey, what's your final thoughts on this though?
So with that being said, don't let no felony inhibit you from having a gun. And why I say that, because once you get a felony on your record, you cannot have a gun. You cannot have a gun in your possession.
Yep.
Unless you go through a clemency, and you got to be 7 years clean. You can't do anything. You can't have no other criminal things on your record. You can't have no domestic cases on your record. But you can, for a first-time felony, go out there and get it expunged. And that doesn't mean that you still going to get your gun rights back. But listen, just remember, having a gun It's just like having a driver license.
Big
Just like
responsibility.
driving. It's a privilege.
Yeah.
Having that gun is a privilege. So when you have that gun, make sure that you're locking that gun up, know how to use that gun. If you have anybody in your home, teach them how to use that gun, because I do that with my family. Everybody in my house know how to load a gun up and shoot, but it's for safety purposes. Be safe out there, people. I love you.
All right, Jordan, what's your final thoughts on it, man?
Pretty much piggybacking off of that, man. I think that you should educate yourself on how to take care and defend yourself, right? And however you choose to do that. But when it comes to gun control, I don't think that gun control laws are the issue. I think there's bigger issues at play that we haven't really jumped into, as far as, the government and everything like that. But for the people out here, while you do have the right to own and things are the way they are, just educate yourself before you decide to knock something or to say that it's not for you.
And as you can see, there's many sides to it. There's many sides to it. Just the main thing is to be familiar with the gun, know how to use it, know where it's at, keep it in a safe place, because it's not just you that's going to be looking for the gun. If you have kids, just make sure that they know about the gun as well, because you don't want them to be curious about it when you're not home. So let's make sure we have a good education on this thing. But we want to thank you guys for another good episode. Thank you guys for watching. Again, make sure to check us out on YouTube, Spotify, for the videos. And if you want to check out the podcast, all major podcast platforms.
Apple Music,
all of them.
Spotify, everything.
Everybody. All of them.
Let me get 2 chest beats and a Ric Flair.
Woo! Wake up, stop napping. Watch, get up, it happens. Try, that's just a fraction. Pop, I don't stop trapping. Try.